for shorthand, I think I agree with a lot of what Adyashanti, talks about on this. I read a really wonderful interview for listeners. You could look it up online, um, where he really talks in a really lucid way about just how in Buddhist traditions, there's really kind of a taboo against talking about these experiences and kind of the negative effects that that can have. And also that there's reasons why that happens. Some of them are useful and positive. People can be mistaken about what they claim. People can make false claims. I don't know. It doesn't seem like a good thing to do, but maybe someone would do it, or make claims in order to gain support in various kinds. So there are things to watch out for. And there's something also wonderful about the intimacy of, this is an intimate path and practice, and it's a mysterious path and practice. So there's something a little bit loud and kind of off about being too brash with talking about, it's like, I have this. Well, that's not the thing. So those are the pitfalls. It can also even lead to a general sense in the community, like a spiritual community, that these things are somehow far off or are not even possible, not even possible. So just want to kind of say that there's like pitfalls and benefits to both sides. But yeah, I guess I have, just personally, I have some sort of value of openness, and I think it's been in the spirit of just, I've seen different teachers hold this in different ways, and I've respected all of them. And but I've also been really inspired by teachers who have really kind of owned their experience, their deepest experience, because our deepest experience, which I would call, use just a name, but I would call Buddha, or could provisionally call Buddha nature, is everyone's deepest experience. It's the ground of being. And it's something that can really, I have so much faith in the possibility of actually realizing that, and then the value of that for our own life and for the whole world. If we're too shy about it, like, I can see the pitfalls, and those are important to look at, but I can also see the deep value of, like, raising, as they say in Zen, raising the Dharma flag. Yeah. So it's more risky that way too. And I've seen, it's not always been easy. There's something beautiful about being quiet and humble, but also, if you raise the Dharma flag, people will criticize you, and people will question you, and you'll question yourself more, maybe. But what I've seen is that it's actually, like, busted through a lot of my own still stuck sort of personal emotions around being overly shy or meek, false humilities, and it's a precept in Mahayana Buddhism, as I understand it, to actually not withhold the Dharma treasure, to give the teaching.
Yeah. So there's, this is where still there's the element of personality of how the Dharma is expressed through each unique being, even though it's all pointing to this universal experience of Buddha nature.
Yes.
There's still how it's being expressed, or how the personality, the human is choosing to express it, can come out in so many different ways.
Yeah. Thanks for kind of mirroring that back, because that seems really important. It's not to say everyone should be quiet about their attainment, or everyone should be loud and raise their Dharma flag. It's really about, actually, I think it's really about just that living, and in so many ways, more than just this topic, it's about finding that living thread of Dharma, and then just seeing how does that kind of express itself through our particular life. And it's not about imitating anything. It's about finding that opening to our life and just seeing, how does this express itself? What are all in this big, wide, vast mandala of Dharma and reality?
Yeah. It's also, like you said, earlier that, there's a time where it may be useful to look through a sutric lens, or a time where it may be useful to look through a tantric lens. And in a similar way, I think that, there's a time and place for silence, and there's a
Yes.
time and place for speaking and expression. And
Yes.
it may, a practitioner or a teacher may choose to be silent about their attainments. And at one point and at another point, they may choose to be expressive about it, and they may change between students too.
Yeah.
It's on how they sense what's more helpful, what would be more helpful.
Yeah. What I mean is, yeah. What occurs to me is it's maybe kind of it's a personal process. It's also a complicated process. I know it has been in me of really from the beginning of really opening and feeling this freedom, really wanting to share it, and then finding out all the ways in which my personal expression of that is kind of an endless deepening process, even though the freedom itself feels immediate and complete. And so that whole ecology of how does the Dharma express itself through me now is ever evolving and changing, which is the first thing I said in response to your question. Yeah. But I think the most important thing is what's important to me is the most important thing, which is that living thread of Dharma. It's like we're not trying to imitate something else, but really open to what we are and appreciate that. There's a couple stories that come to mind. One is the story of I think Seiko or Seicho. Anyway, he said he loved dragons, and he lived in a mountain cave, and he prayed for a dragon to appear fervently day and